Okay. Hello, Roger.
Good afternoon, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Now, just for the benefit of local residents, so that in case they don't know who you are, this is Inspector Roger Nield. Now, Roger is the neighbourhood police inspector for Runnymede. Okay. I
That's
know we're
correct.
in Surrey Heath at the moment, but because everybody's so busy, it's hard to track someone down to talk. So I wanted just to speak to Surrey Police about the snow, obviously, and I wanted to find out how you guys are coping, really.
Well, I think we're coping really well at the moment. Obviously, we're busy. The day job carries on, but we're doing it at the moment, obviously, in the wintry conditions that you might expect this time of year.
Right. Now, is there anything that local residents can do to help the police and not get in their way? So not just the police, but the ambulance service as well, because I know that they struggle at this time of year when we have adverse weather. So is there anything that residents can do to help you?
Yeah, one of the first things that people can do is check on the neighbours. If you've got old or vulnerable people nearby, if you can take the trouble to go around and see if they're all right, make sure they've got what they need, so they don't have to go out themselves and put themselves perhaps at risk of slipping on icy pavement. Because as you know, if you look out, if you've been travelling, you'll know that the main roads are gritted, but the pavements are often fairly slippery.
Yeah, it's only priority one routes that they're gritting, so side roads and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, so it's really looking after your family, looking after your neighbours. And if I could just give you a really good example, yesterday I blogged about people helping each other, and then I went shopping with my wife. The car conked out in the supermarket car park, and it was only the kindness of a chap in a white van who had a spare battery that enables us to get home in really good order. So it's that sort of thing. Think about what you're taking with you when you go out. Don't be like me. Make sure if you've got the sort of kit that you might need, like good shoes, a coat. If you break down, then you don't have to make it an emergency. It's just dealing with it in the ordinary way because you've taken the appropriate clothing and kit for the conditions. So what else can people do? Well, give us a call if there's something wrong, but try and tell us before it becomes an emergency, or only call us when it really is an emergency. Because when we're travelling on the same roads as everybody else, in similar sorts of vehicles. So if it's icy and slippery and we're trying to get there quickly because it's been left to the last minute, or because somebody thinks it's an emergency, but actually they could just deal with it themselves, or give us a few more minutes, then
Yeah.
we're putting ourselves and possibly other people at risk. So please think about whether you need to call us, and if you have checked and made sure that your family and your neighbours are fine, then there'll be fewer calls for us to have to deal with. Right. So that's the sort of stuff.
Okay, well that's very useful. That's very, very useful. I'll make sure that we put this out on the residents network, both over at Runnymede and here in Surrey Heath.
Brilliant.
I think people will really benefit from that. Now, if someone goes to an elderly resident, let's say as an example, to check on them, and they're concerned about their welfare in any way, but it's not really an emergency, they're just concerned about their welfare and they don't know what to do, what advice would you give them?
Well, it's really simple. If the vulnerable or old person is cold, encourage them to move about if they can. If they put more warm clothing on. If don't go to bed late, go to bed early. It's not a good idea to drink alcohol because that opens the pores. But if they're really cold, don't give them really hot drink or hot food. Tepid. You've got to try and raise people's temperature slowly, not quickly. So keeping the heat in, wearing a hat even in the house if you've got to be fair, when you look at some of the older people that are in our communities, they remember this from from a long time ago, and it's just like going back to their childhood. So perhaps it's people like you and me that have to relearn some of these life skills.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if in doubt about anything at all, can residents call Surrey Police on the non-emergency police number 101?
Yeah, before it becomes an emergency, just ring 101 and you'll get through to the police. If you ring 999 because it's an emergency, then we'll be coming out to give you a hand, or directing you to the appropriate service, whether that's the fire brigade or indeed the ambulance service, who are doing a great job with all these bits of accidents and bumps that people are taking in what for most people is fabulously white winter weather.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, Roger, thanks so much. Really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. And like I say, I'll publish this on the Residents Network to help local residents.
Thank you very much indeed, Paul.
Cheers.